There's these recurrent themes in Bob's poetry. Obviously, he has nothing to write about as far as contemporary his contemporary activity goes. So he's got to dredge up the past. What can I tell you? Black Rider, you've been living too hard. Hard is a word that connotates prison. You're doing hard time. It's hard time in the Criderville jail. It's hard time, poor boy. I wrote to my mother to send me a knife. The rats and the chinches have threatened my life. And it's hard times in the Criderville jail. It's hard times, poor boy. Just throw that in there. Okay, so you've been up all night having to stay on your guard. Guard, correction officer. I got to speak with the warden. The guards used to complain to me. You get to speak with the warden more than we do, and you're a prisoner. Because the warden was interested in poetry. He says, how do you come to spend your life studying the poetry of Bob Dylan? So I told him, well, man, we used to drop acid and, try and figure out what Dylan was saying. Okay, so we got hard. I'm not going to sing it again. Guard. The path that you're walking is too narrow to walk. It's those circular paths around the cells that are really narrow. And, it's just a classical prison scenario. Like Lenny Bruce used to, don't sit down, master. Okay, so the path that you're walking is too narrow to walk. All right. Every step of the way is another stumbling block. Cell block. Get it? Hard guard, narrow walk, block. The road that you're on, the same road that you know, but it's not the same as it was a minute ago. I got popped thanks to Biden passing these draconian laws, and my connection ratted down on me. At first, I blamed him and wanted to do some awful things to him. But when I started to study that crime bill, I realized nobody wants to do a life sentence, which is what he was facing. The road that you're on now, the same road it wasn't the same as a minute ago. You popped like that. You're living at 240 Central Park South, overlooking the park, in a beautiful apartment that Saint Exuberant once lived in. The next thing you know, you're in a jail cell. They warn people that, when you get in there, people want to commit suicide. The psychologists say that, it's the ones who are most prone to suicide are the ones that have lived, extremely well their entire life, and then they're faced with this kind of existential existence. But I lived on 6 Bleecker Street for decades. And when I first got in there was no hot water heater, no sink, no nothing. We had to go and remove them from abandoned buildings around the World Trade Center, which was fun. Cops would see our flashlights and we'd duck down. So, you popped. It's not the same as it was a minute ago. Black Rider, you've seen it all. You've seen the great world and you've seen the small. You've been rich and you've been poor. You fell into the fire and you're eating the flame. You got to eat your losses because the Fed sees my bank account in Luxembourg. What am I supposed to do? Open a bank account at the Chase Manhattan? No choice when they make marijuana illegal. All of a sudden it's legal here, and it's a medication. You see a list of medications. One of them is medical marijuana. And they wanted to put me away for life in prison for marijuana, no guns, nothing of that nature. Fuck them. This country, they can get really weird. Better seal up your lips if you want to stay in the game. Better not rat out your other connections if you want to go back into biz. Be reasonable, mister. Be honest and fair. Let all of your earthly thoughts be a prayer. Don't think bad thoughts like I'm going to turn this guy in, I'm going to turn that guy in. Figure a way out of it, which I did. Because the IRS was pissed. But guess what? One of my customers, Patrick Boylan, was an IRS criminal agent, or criminal IRS agent. No, IRS criminal agent. Anyway, he worked for the criminal division of the IRS. And, he never told me that when he came around Six Bleecker. But later on he did. And he got some kind of cancer. And so I says, okay, man, we had a policy. If you had cancer and you're one of our customers, you get free pot. And I gave him free pot. And his mother knitted a blanket for my daughter. It was nice. And then Pat, I walked him over to the subway on 23rd and 7th Avenue. And the last thing he said to me was, I don't know how I'm ever going to thank you for this. And he did, posthumously. That got the IRS off my case. I fucking realized I don't hate, other human beings. So, the dormitory was no good at MDC. But the cells were good. The cells were good. And I worked in the kitchen, so I had access to all the food. So, Dylan thinks I was miserable. I was getting, sodomized, that I had beaten up, whatever. That just wasn't the case. It wasn't the case at all. I assembled a crew, basically. I was number two. This other guy, Ari Unger, he was number one. He was the top leader of the Jews, and I was his lieutenant, essentially. So, the bottom line was the guards were sympathetic. The ones that beat up the alleged terrorists after 9/11, they seemed to be nice guards. One of them would always, crack a joke and cheer me up and stuff. Not that I needed cheering up, but people would say, hey, Weberman, what's the matter? Or Weberman, what's the matter? You look like you're stressing. I say, no, I'm just trying to figure out one of these verses in It's All Right, Ma. A Dylan song poem. So, That's what I was stressing about. The other thing I had that, you know, sewed up really. I was eating steak, shrimp. We had our own Coca-Cola machine, our own ice cream machine, and I go bust the tables, and collect intelligence on the prison while I was busting the tables. Anyway, Black Rider, all dressed in black. I'm walking away, and you try and make me look back. What does he mean he's dressed in black? The priest wore black. Black is death. I'm all dressed in black. But I'm walking away, and you try and make me look back. I trying to get over wanting to kill you, to gain a soul, as he put it. And you try and make me look back, and your shenanigans still are bugging me. My heart is at rest. I'd like to keep it that way. He's chilling out. That's pretty obvious. His heart. I tamed the lion in his cage, but it just wasn't enough to change his heart. After he met me, he got rid of all these fantasies about airing me out and having me beat up and stuff. Because he realized, well, I don't know what he realized. I didn't get into the guy's mind. But he said, I tamed the lion in his cage, but it just wasn't enough to change his heart. That's a whole other story. He needed neo-Confederism, Confederate. He needed to be a neo-Confederate to have some standard of belief. I'll go into that later in another video. Anyway, he says he wanted to be cool. I don't want to fight like when he had his moment of glory. Oh man. I'm telling you. Like it's one thing to get on top of somebody and start punching them. It's another thing to get on top of somebody and grab them by the ears and start banging their head against the sidewalk. He's using the sidewalk as a dangerous weapon. But he had no fear that I would run to the pigs and attack me. Big Bad Bob. So, oh man. Okay. I don't want to fight, at least not today. That was the most one-sided fight. I turned around and said, hey, how you doing, man? Boom, boom, boom. Knocks me to the ground. And then the hippies came and saved my butt. They did. They pulled him off. And then this bum who had witnessed the entire episode. Oh, wait. When I got up, Dylan took my Free Bob Dylan button and threw it on the ground like I was, going through some military ceremony and being demoted. And anyway, so then somebody came at this bum came after me while I'm dusting myself off, and he says, "Did he get much money, man?" I said, did he get much money? That's Bob Dylan. He doesn't have to come down here and roll hippies. He's a multimillionaire. And then I said, well, what just transpired? I can't let him get away with this kind of thing. So I grabbed a wine bottle, which was handy, as they always were back on the Bowery back then. And I went to the corner of Elizabeth and Houston, the north west corner. And I ducked out, and there was Bob on his bicycle. He's going to be riding down Elizabeth Street. I took the bottle. I said, you're going to be in the middle of traffic on Houston. I throw this bottle at him, and he falls off his bike. And as we say in Brooklyn, he gets runned over. So then I said, nope. That's Bob Dylan. What do what are you going to do? Can't, also, I fucked with his wife. Earlier in that, I left that part of the story out, right? Just can't even trust myself. What happened was he did the Bangladesh concert. I promised to leave him alone. I was having extramarital relations with this AP reporter. And I brought her around. I violated my own prohibitions and brought her around to do a story on the garbage. She brought in this old Italian photographer. And just our luck, Sarah came out. And she runs over to me and says, I'm sick of you going through my garbage. And I told her, hey, if it means that much to you, don't throw it out. Which was just, mouthing off to somebody like that. Somebody's wife and a mother, and, that was wrong. The minute I saw her, I should have run away. Sarah Nowitzki. Her father was killed in a robbery at a junkyard. Who robs junkyards? So she was a former playgirl. Playgirl. She served the drinks at the casinos there, like the Playboy Casino in Atlantic City. It's a pretty cool place, actually. But, just, you're going to lose, Like Lenny Bruce says, the only way to win in Las Vegas is when you get off the airplane and walk into the propeller. Lenny Bruce would have been canceled. He would have been canceled. We wouldn't have had Lenny Bruce. Anyway, I don't know what the rest of it means. Black Rider, tell me when, tell me how. If there was ever a time, let it be now. Let me go through, open the door. My soul is distressed, my mind is at war. Don't hug me, don't flatter me, don't turn on your charm. I'll take out a sword to hack off your arm. Tell me when. Tell me how. Well, I suggest a June wedding, and that's when. And how we elope. If there ever was a time, let it be now. I know it's getting too old for me to have kids. My soul is distressed, my mind is at war. Don't hug me. He's the one that hugged me. Don't flatter me. I never flattered him. Don't turn on the charm. Turn on the charm. Have to do with heroin. Turn on the charm. I don't know. Maybe not. I was thinking. Turn off the charm. Turn on the charm. Well, you know, what we can do here is open another screen, go to free dictionary, and then we look at the various meanings of the word charm. So we have to cast or seem to cast a spell on. Bewitch. Cast your dancing spell my way. I promise to go under it. So, we'll close the screen. So turn on the charm. It does have something to do with I'll take out a sword and have to hack off your arm. You know, that might have something to do with one-legged Chet Terry. Hack off your arm. Don't hug me. He'll have to hack off my arm. That's where I lose it here. Black Rider, Blacker, hold it right there. The size of your cock will get you nowhere. I'll suffer in silence. I'll not make a sound. Maybe I'll take the high moral ground. Some enchanted evening, I'll sing you a song. Black Rider, you've been on the job too long. This is insane, I'm telling you. You know, this is getting to be too much. This is where it ends. You know, the size of your cock will get you nowhere. I don't know. I'll suffer in silence and not make a sound. Sounds of silence. Maybe I'll take the high moral ground. That would be good because, boy, Bob took the low moral ground. It would have been hard for him to get any lower. I suppose it would. I suppose there are other things. But, you know, he told Robert Shelton he was a male prostitute on the west side in Sleesville. So, you know. Suffer in silence. I don't know. Some enchanted evening. What is with this? Some enchanted evening, you may meet a stranger. A nice song. Across a crowded floor. And somehow you'll know. Who knows? Basically. You know, this is going to take some time. High moral ground. Some enchanted evening. We're going back to that other word. Turn on. Charm. Enchanted. Charm.